This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation Pop Experience. Welcome back to another episode of Whatever It Takes, Degrassi Pod, where tonight we are going to be discussing Season 1 of Next Generation, Episodes 11 entitled Friday Night, and Episode 12 entitled Wannabe. But as always, I have my co-host, Mr. John Kesselika. John, how are you doing tonight?
Bruni, I'm great. Thanks so much for having me again. It's always great to be back in the world of Degrassi as we stroll the hallways of this community school. And especially tonight, I had such a blast watching our episodes for this week. I can't wait to get into them. I really think these are two of the real kind of like tentpole episodes from that first season, the memorable ones that we get into. And as we are, here approaching the holiday season, it's been just a blast to get back into some real, memorable moments from Degrassi too. So looking forward to diving in today with you, sir.
Yeah, at least the first episode is very much a tentpole episode with some of the main characters and the characters who we will be looking into as the seasons go on. The second episode, I kind of thought, my overall thought about it was not a weird one, but it wasn't way too out of the blue, but it felt wow, it went from from what we're talking about in the first episode to a full 360. But again, it's our lesson of the lessons of the week here.
Yep. Yeah, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves in the second episode. Let's get into really one of my favorites, and I think you can tick it off well with our start with Friday Night, getting into everything here.
Yep. So this is Season 1, Episode 11, Friday Night, Degrassi Next Generation. It aired on January 20th, 2002 in the United States. Manny is showing Emma a new fragrance when Sean walks by. Sean asks Emma about a math assignment and then asks if Emma wants to hang out on Friday night. Emma says she just got asked out on a date, so we're not even 2 minutes in, and Sean's already "Oh, do you want to hang out on Friday?" So no build up, just jumping right into the point. Hey, what are you doing on Friday night?
Exactly. All this pre-credits roll, just getting right into it. And I love the amazingly captured, that wonderful awkwardness of these are grade 7 kids in a conversation. It's, what do we talk about? The first thing, obviously Sean wants to approach her, kind of has a crush and says, oh boy, just a brutal math test, kind of stumbling through there. And no real ask out. I don't know if you, Grunian, at this time when you would be maybe trying to ask somebody out, ask in this vague way, and that's going to drive really the first 5-10 minutes of our episode, is trying to decode this communication between them, because it's just left as, it is Friday night. Yeah, maybe we can hang out. Maybe we can do something. That's it. And it's those vagaries that are that set us off and running. And yeah, is it a date? It feels that way to Emma. Let's see, right?
Yeah, even Sean's oh, it's Friday. And she's yeah, I know, it is Friday. So even Sean's oh, how do I approach this? And it's dude, you're older and you this is your first time asking out a girl.
Yeah. It's the point where we're not asking questions. We just state facts, right? He's not saying I would be interested in going out with you, or, hey, would you like to do something? He just says, it is Friday. That's so, it's so relatable,
Yep. So then we get the opening credits, and then Manny and Emma, they go into homeroom, and they run into Toby, who just stands there and smiles at Emma then asks Manny why Toby can't just Manny instead. And then we go to the 8th grade room. Miss Quan is talking about the 8th grade trip to Stratford to see Shakespeare when she hears a noise like in tapping. And then she discovers Spinner not paying attention and listening to music in class. A big no-no in a class. And then Spinner's like the classic, oh, you broke my CD player or something, as the CD player breaks, and Spinner gets detention because he's arguing with Miss Quan. So a big no for listening to music in class, John.
Oh yeah, you can't have the Discman in class. You know, it even has those two big AA batteries popping out when he drops it on the floor. You know, really, really distracting as she's hearing him tap along. We don't know what he's listening to. Who knows? Some Canadian artist, maybe Tom Cochrane, Bryan Adams. He's got rocking around there in his head. But Spinner off in his own world and already up to no good. We haven't seen a lot from Spinner that shows like good qualities throughout the season so far. And once again, you know, I think our last episode, it landed him in trouble working in the calf. And now he's landing in trouble right away at the beginning.
Yeah.
We should note, Bruni, I think one of the things that I took mostly from here, as this is our first episode, we're getting a heavy Miss Quan, is boy, does she lay on the Canadian accent pretty thick in her delivery. We get a lot of boots and a lot of like, no, your problem, like to Gavin as he is.
Yep, and we're gonna get a lot of the character development of Spinner's bad side here. You know, he's been like a bully jerk for most of the time, except for that like dance episode when he and Terry had a moment before Terry got drunk and ruined it. But we see what kind of a character Spinner is here. Sean walks over to Emma in gym class. Emma asks like what their plans are, but all Sean says is, yeah. And then he walks away. Mr. Armstrong says that they're going to play dodgeball. So Emma automatically tries to throw all the dodgeballs at all the balls at Sean to get him out. And even Mr. Armstrong's like, you know, there are other people that you can get out. You know, like he's like, I love the arm, but aim for somebody else.
Yeah, there's you know, this stems from that confusion where Manny said, all right, well, just ask him. Let's try to figure it out. Is this a date or not? And when she comes to ask him to be like, oh, I'm looking forward to it, he just, yeah, and runs away again. So Sean still trying to navigate this thing and figure out what we're going to do on Friday. Get everybody on the same page is clearly leading to some frustration from Emma with her perfectly crimped hair for some reason today. Just taking it out with the dodgeball. Not the fiercest of dodgeball games, though. It seems like only Emma had a ball for a little while there, and everybody was kind of standing around.
Yeah, and if you recall, I don't know if it was the first or the second episode, the last time we recorded, Emma was just getting over her period, so we understand that Emma's having more and more feelings towards like relationships and growing up.
Yep, absolutely.
Jimmy and Ashley are kissing each other in the hall when Miss Quan yells at them to stop. Jimmy thinks Miss Quan is a tyrant. She's, you know, she's like a public display, like give it a rest. And, you know, I mean, everybody like broke it up during at least the hallway passing. You weren't really supposed to be making out with your girlfriend in the hallway.
Yeah, 8th grade too here, James. I mean, I don't know about you. In your 8th grade classes, was there a lot of this PDA going on in the hallways over there in Connecticut?
No, because everyone was just weird and awkward. I mean, you might get like a peck, but like that was it. And like that was like move on. And wasn't really until like maybe the 10th grade did you see like, I mean, at least like experience making out, you know, like if someone already if you were like younger, you saw someone already kissing. Not a whole
Yeah.
lot of PDA really, but just like maybe like a dance or so.
Yeah, I feel like you'd see more of the like arm around, kind of like hanging on somebody, or like the hug around the neck, not the Jimmy and Ashley, kind of kissing right in front of Terry too. Poor Terry having to deal with this. But Miss Quan does hit them with one of my favorite bits that I end up hitting my students with when they're working on admissions essays and feel they're writing about like their boyfriend or girlfriend of, you may think you're adorable, but we really don't. Like, you are not. Like, let's move on.
Mm-hmm.
And so Jimmy now, he was like, as we were getting into this, he was like, Spinner deserves it. Like, he was kind of messing around, but now Jimmy is coming over a bit, maybe to Spinner's side, as the Quan rage is impacting him too.
Yep. As we see Jimmy and Spinner, they are in the cafeteria, and Spinner says that he and Jimmy should get revenge, but Jimmy declined. Rightfully so, Jimmy should decline, because it doesn't really, he isn't getting it as bad as Spinner. It's like, well, she just told me to stop beating on my girlfriend. I don't know why. Like, I should be doing that, And then Emma is talking to Manny when Paige overhears her and says to Emma, "Stop worrying. You have a date. Guys just say things because they don't know how to get it, but you really do have a date." So,
yep. We get that 8th grade wisdom from Paige coming through and being able to give us that experience translating for Emma and Manny of what does yeah mean, or what does hang out versus go out on a date. Those nuances of language that we struggle with as middle schoolers. Paige really kind of helping them out here. And, almost another nice moment with Paige and Emma, like we saw in the period episode, where like she helped her out there, she's helping out here. Paige, not this irredeemable character that we sometimes are given a look at, as she is here looking out for the younger girls.
Yep.
In her own kind of still obnoxious way. Make sure to get in a dig at Heather Sinclair while she's at it.
The nose job. Yep. So then we see Jimmy and Spinner. They're in English class again, but Miss Quan isn't there, as Terry announces that she told them to start reviewing everything. But then Spinner gets up in class and starts to teach the class, making fun of Miss Quan, and Jimmy participates in asking questions. Oh, well, Miss Quan, Shakespeare is a big yawn, yada, yada, yada. And Miss Quan walks in. She says, "Oh, well, we're going to start learning, we're going to continue with Shakespeare, even if he is a big yawn." And Jimmy's like, "Uh-oh, I got busted." And turns out that only to Miss Quan's classroom does Mr. Radich have a direct link to the classroom, so she could hear everything that they were saying.
Yep, man. Miss Quan running late, but still overhears what they're making fun. I was a little bit thrown. I thought maybe when she came in and started hitting the lines, I didn't recognize that she had heard it right away. I thought it was just, oh wow, look, they really do kind of know her, and she is lame. But boom, pulls it out, and all right, guys, detention is coming. So we're gonna don't cross the teacher here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird that Mr. Radich only has a direct link to Miss Quan's room. I don't know why. I mean, unless Miss Quan's like using a media room and it's necessary.
I don't know if you bring. I'm sure it's a link to, probably meant to be like that. There's a link to all the rooms, but at the same time, why was she like stopping in the office and listening into her classroom? Like that's where the real question comes in. Shouldn't she be hurrying to class instead? Because it is immediately after he they do the impersonation that she is there.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that nobody would realize that. Oh well. the loudspeaker touches all the rooms, you know.
Right.
Uh-huh. So Jimmy gets detention as well.
Oof.
And then Emma messages Sean about what is going on tonight. Sean thinks Emma hates him, but she doesn't. Sean asks if they are still on, and she says yes. Funny how much time they have to be IMing each other unless they have like a study hall. There's no way no one would be able to be tracking these kids doing instant messaging online, especially Mr. Simpson, who is the media teacher. You know, I don't know if technology got that far yet, but in one of my computer classes and like with the computers, you could see where kids were going if they weren't paying attention to the internet. I've gotten in so much trouble a couple of times for doing that.
Really?
Yeah. Apparently it's like, I can see where you're on, Mr. Grunberg. Stop looking up wrestling tickets.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we were, so, you know, a little older here. We were really in the nascent age of internet in school. And I think maybe our library was the only place you could get into one of the computers and log on to anything. It definitely wasn't in the classroom, and we were not instant messaging at all. In fact, I think like AIM like really took off when I got to university instead, like my freshman year of college. So not able to have that in the classroom. But I can imagine, yeah, that texting back and forth in computers. I don't know, maybe they're in a couple there are moments before media immersion class begins, just kind of you know, getting settled in. So texting back and forth is the way to do it for them. But yeah, Sean, I think Sean comes in strong here, and he finally like is able to directly have that conversation. You know, they've been just dancing around with one word at a time, 3 words at a time, maybe the whole way. But now it's, what the hell were you doing? You're trying to kill me, like a dodgeball. No, I'm not mad at you. And they're great. We're set up. I'll see you tonight for our date.
Mm-hmm.
Green, this bring back memories of those excitement for a first date. Anything like that for you?
Yeah, especially like I didn't start dating until like the 10th grade. And I actually, like, the first time I met my 10th grade girlfriend was actually, she just moved into town, and we hit it off at a social dance. It was called the Black and White Dance, where like white dresses and black shirts with the guys, and I was like, "Do you want to dance?" And we just hit it off. So yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I can remember, like, I come back to what I love about this is just the awkwardness of trying to understand what a date is. And one party seems really excited about it and the other not so much in it, or not as gung-ho, or not just like readily calling it out as a date. Like I think of, and this would have been maybe 6th grade, 7th grade, of, you know, talking to a girl and we were to, let's see, Carousel Alameda, I believe. And we made plans to like, oh, we could play tennis sometime, like after school. And what did I do? Like, I'm running home and writing it on my calendar as like tennis date, like in capital letters. Like, so my interpretation of it and jumping in, I feel like there's a lot of that energy here, which is pretty fun to see on the screen.
Yeah, it was always like pizza dates and whatnot. As we'll see what Sean and Emma get into. And I think because like I'm the younger one, it was like, oh, I've seen my sister do this like 100 times, like, you know, like either that or like, you know, oh, well, you know, my brother taught me this way. It's like, this might not be the right way to be dating somebody. Yeah. So then Jimmy and Spinner are in detention. Miss Quan says for them to be quiet, or else they'll be joining her in her night school class that she teaches. I don't know why anyone want to be teaching night school on a Friday night. Usually it's like during the week, like, you know, on a Wednesday or something. Absolutely. But I guess if you need the extra money, you'll work on Friday nights.
You know, I had not put that together until you mentioned it right now. Yeah, right. Forgetting that it's Friday night for the classes too. Huh.
Yep. Spinner says that it's payback time, and Jimmy agrees. Sean then arrives to take Emma out. Spike tells Emma how her first date went, but it doesn't help. She calls it verbal diarrhea because she couldn't get a lot of words out. So we learn a new phrase, verbal diarrhea, John.
Oh yeah, and verbal diarrhea. I've heard the phrase before, but Spike really kind of laying it on here, setting Emma up as, oh wow, you'd think for like she'd be romanticizing that first date, but instead just putting plenty of fear into her eyes, in nervousness here, in setting up for it. And we're picking between the two outfits. We've settled on one. Sean is set to arrive and to kick this date off.
Yeah, Sean arrives, and I don't know if you picked up on this, but I did. He actually calls Miss Nelson Christine. He's like, "Hi, Christine."
He does. Yeah, you're right. Good point about that. And
I don't know. Like, I wonder.
He's going through old yearbooks or something. Like, what? How's he picking this up?
I don't know. I wonder if Tracker was like, call her by her first name. That's what I always do.
Tracker trying to get in there too. Yeah, nice. And they have the wonderful, let's take a photo. And they couldn't be standing like any more awkwardly, like further apart for what's supposed to be a date. No arm around, no very much like to themselves, kind of like squeezing tightly to themselves and standing awkwardly with a weird smile. I think I remember my junior prom picking up my date and her mom being like, "You guys can stand a little closer," like in the photo. I felt exactly the same way here. So here they are in grade 7, and here I was junior year doing the same awkward, posing for photos. Yep.
So Sean takes Emma out, but a bird craps on Emma's jacket. It's like phase 1 of this date already going down the hill. A bird craps on Emma's jacket. So they go back and change. Miss Quan is teaching her night class. Jimmy and Spinner steal the janitor's key and get into Raj's office. They're on the loudspeaker making noise, but before they are caught. And then they order pizza for Miss Quan's class.
Ordering wings, 16 orders of wings or 11 orders of wings, something like that. It was an odd number that they pick. Yeah. So Miss Quan is teaching an ESL class, and I guess they're getting ready to take a test. And what better way to prank the class than to chew gum over the loudspeaker? Spinner and Jimmy, not exactly the most prolific minds when it comes to pranking, I guess.
Until we get to the last scene, at least.
Yeah. But Miss Quan, once again, Canadian accent coming out here, is very very disturbed by it. Doesn't notice it coming from the speaker, and is accusing her adult students of chewing gum loudly before she goes off, thinking she might be able to track it down.
Yeah, she sees no mouth movement. It's like, there's nobody chewing gum in your class. Yeah. Then we're at like the mall movie plex, and Sean talks about his time at his aunt and uncle's farm because they're talking about that Emma got him a veggie burger, and and Sean's like, yeah, no, that's what I really want because I went to my aunt and uncle's house. They own a slaughterhouse, and so I've learned that I don't want to eat meat a lot. Yeah. Emma loses her appetite, but then she starts to talk, but then Sean notices a blob of sauce on her chin, basically. Very awkward here.
Definitely. Like, everything is just slightly off. There's, from the bird crap, which, some would consider good luck, which is just an awkward thing to have up front, to, a pleasant conversation going. And of course you get whether it would be food in your teeth or something on your face. And Sean's trying to be polite and pointing out, still, kudos to him sticking with it and not being being weirded out or being like grossed out in any way. They're really forging ahead with this, and seem to be making the most of it and finding that even connection here, as Sean points out. Yeah, veggie burger is cool with me because the slaughterhouse leaves a little bit of the mystery out of the entire situation when you're eating meat. So yeah, it's a surprising thing. I don't think any of us would have pictured Sean as the empathetic type here.
No, nor the vegetarian type as well.
Yep.
A pizza.
And how about Emma? How about Emma? The last time we saw her in the mall was with her mother, and they were being sexually harassed by the guy with the ice cream cone, with their ice cream cones. Now she comes back and is having an awkward date. She may never come back to this mall.
Yeah, and there's no ice cream this time. So a pizza delivery man comes in with wings and pizza in Miss Quan's class. She says she didn't order any of it, but her night students start to speak and like understand sentence structure as they say, "I will help pay for the food." Yeah. So they're having a blast just eating all these wings. So it's kind of like Jimmy and Spinner's plan backfired because the students all helped Miss Quan pay for the food and were hungry.
Right, they're into it, but she's still overwhelmed, and we can tell this is, what the day from hell, and her students are really getting to her, and you're starting to see maybe this is going on long enough here. Like something needs to break. But hey, Friday night is almost over. She can get done with this class and move on.
Yep. Sean and Emma are like throwing out their food, and Emma's like, "Oh, I'm gonna pay for the movie," and they're like getting ready to see this movie. But then Emma freaks out. She's like, "I might have thrown out my wallet," and Sean goes trash hunting, only to get stopped by the security guards. Like, "What are you doing?" And so they're downstairs in the trash basement. They go to the trash haul downstairs in the basement. Spinner and Jimmy are then egging Miss Quan's car, and she comes out and she is seen crying. So what are your thoughts on these two scenes here, John?
So yeah, the back to the mall, and the more confusion as to like, oh, I've thrown my wallet away. We've got to go track it down. Good for Sean again. He's eager to get in there. He's happy to help. He's reaching into the trash, drops the burger, but even takes him back to the back room where he'll help sort through the trash. This guy is on board, and he is game for this date. Shows that he really is trying to make the most of the evening with Emma, not make it be all for nothing. And isn't blaming her, isn't upset. Seems to be like a good sport all the way. And yeah, our two knuckleheads, just taking it too far. It seems like finally, as they move forward with their own revenge plan that they feel they've deserved because they've been so wrong by this teacher, really taking it to that next level and egging the car. We haven't seen that many redeemable things about Spinner or Jimmy in the episodes we've seen so far. Maybe the most relatable Jimmy was when we saw his parents not being there for his birthday. But any of that sympathy is kind of tossed out the window when we see this behavior from the guys.
Mm-hmm. Especially Jimmy, and I'll get into it when we go over who the MVP and LVPs are. Mm-hmm. And then they actually find Emma's wallet because as Sean is looking through the trash, Emma feels her chest pocket, and the wallet was there the whole time. So we go to the next day, Monday morning when everyone's back in class. Emma's seen talking with JT, Toby, and Manny. Emma's afraid that her friendship with Sean is over, as his first date from hell, I would say, is over. And it was a very bad time. But Toby steps in and says it won't affect Sean and Emma's friendship. So Toby, being a positive person towards Emma, even though like he has some sort of weird feelings for Emma that aren't established, while Sean, stepped up to the plate and asked Emma out on a date.
He said, he indicates, hey, if he really cares and he's really interested, then a few minor incidents, like some weird pictures, the bird having to change your clothes and like go through the trash isn't going to deter him. So that shouldn't get in the way. So, and that's reassuring from our little geek Toby, who is able to set aside his own crush on Emma, and give her some faith here.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy and forgot one step backwards. Sean walks in and asks for the picture. So that's a sign that everything's all right, because Sean wants to keep the picture for himself.
Yeah. Emma's got the two photos from that Spike took on Friday, and that there it is, that weird awkward pose. But Sean, with a great smile, says, "Hey, how's your wallet?" She might think, oh, he's ready to move past this or make fun of me for all the things that happen. And no, he just is genuine, says, hey, can I have this? I'd really like to keep the photo. So it goes on. All was not for loss on this first date, and hopefully we're moving forward. We'll see that relationship start to grow even more.
Mm-hmm. Jimmy and Spinner are laughing about their revenge when Mr. Radich walks in and says Miss Quan requested a leave of absence. I'm surprised that he didn't overhear everything like Miss Quan did with Direct Link, and went after Jimmy and Spinner already, suspending them or like possibly expelling them for them admitting to egging Miss Quan's car. I thought that was the direction they were going in, but Mr. Raj says that he will be taking over the class for the semester, and that their Shakespeare trip to Stratford is canceled as well.
Yeah, field trips off.
Yeah,
you're right though. Why isn't Radich sitting with the direct line over the intercom and trying to spy and find out maybe if anything happened? He could have picked that up, but no, he lays it out, and it's this grim setting of her husband has had some health problems, and it's been a very stressful semester. So Miss Quan is gone from our lives for a while. Radich taking over the class, and guess what, guys? No more field trip. So all eyes turn to Jimmy and Spinner, as maybe there might be some sort of remorse from these guys or thoughts that their behavior was out of line, but I don't know if we'll get that any time coming soon, because that's where we close. We freeze on the disappointed class members. Once again, these Degrassi episodes not afraid to close on kind of a down moment for our characters, right? Isn't that pretty impressive?
Yeah, it was a down moment with what was it? And Jimmy gets cut from the basketball team. And
the down moment where Emma was spreading the rumors and feeling bad about that. And, we have, a lot of these are really kind of like, it's not people walking off and smiling at the end. There's this kind of just like, damn, screwed up again. We get with a lot of these episodes.
Yeah, so Radich says that Miss Quan has been under a lot of stress because Terry asked, oh, is she okay? And like her husband's sick. So I think Miss Quan was really like just distraught because of like what was going on. Like Spinner disrespected her. And then with the whole Ashley and Jimmy thing, it might have been that, oh, she might not be able to like hold on to her loved one or something like that,
I don't know about that. That's a pretty good stretch to make. I think Mr. Radich is a bit too forthcoming with why Miss Quan's not going to be in class. Could just say, oh, there's a family emergency or something instead. Like, I feel like he was a bit too disclosing a bit too much of his teacher's private life. Right?
So protocol, yeah. Like you said, even Ashley's like, well, it's that's not revenge. It's just being like jerks and horrifying that you would egg a teacher's car. So I'm surprised that Ashley is like still going out with Jimmy after this. And like you said, we ended where it's like, oh, we feel bad, but you guys did it. You know, you brought it upon yourselves. So that's how we leave this Degrassi episode. MVP, John, I have Sean. He goes through this day, and even if everything is going wrong, Sean is looking at the bright side that he gets to be with the one he finds fun and likable, and that's Emma. And he's a good sport through and through.
Sean is 100% our MVP. A real great sport. You know, even able to calm her down at the beginning when she's like, "We could do this and this and this." He's full on. He says, "Whatever we do, we're gonna have a good time. It's all right." And this is a character who's actually, you know, stepping up and going after what he wants, and is undeterred by any of the minor setbacks that come away. Really a positive attitude from a character who's been kind of, you know, a little mysterious and gloomy at times, but really stepping up here. I loved it. I loved Sean's arc here, and, you know, hopefully we'll continue to see him kind of flourish. And good to match up with Emma in a way, not like get overwhelmed by her, which I think she tends to do to a lot of the characters that she plays off of.
Mm-hmm. And my LVP, you know, I was gonna tie it between the both of them, but I'm actually gonna give it to Jimmy because I expect this sort of behavior from Spinner, but Jimmy on the other hand, like, who just gets attention one time and like goes with Spinner's plan. So I think Jimmy let his bad side get out. And, you know, Jimmy's conscience, you know, doesn't help him at all. You know, he knows this is wrong, but he goes with it anyway. And he's like throwing eggs with Spinner, too. It's like, oh, let's watch our teacher cry. So LVP is really Jimmy for following Spinner's path.
Yeah, you're 100% right. We've seen this from Spinner. We've seen that he has kind of no filter at times. We've seen that he lacks good judgment, even if it's like, you know, splitting up Ritalin and giving it to other people. So, but for Jimmy, not so much, and we haven't seen like the poor decision making or like just kind of the spiteful side of him to think like that he was so wronged that he would, you know, go as far as like disrupting Miss Quan's classes and then egging the car. So, yeah, Jimmy thumbs down this episode. Not his strongest showing. So hopefully some redemption can come for him. We should give the wing guy some credit too as an MVP, coming through and feeding the class, you know, even and you know, getting paid. So supporting those English as a second language learners, which I guess in Canada they probably have to take French too, since it's a 2-language country.
Yeah, and the students who were like, oh, hey, I want some pizza. I got money too. So they really helped Miss Quan out.
Just a brilliantly scripted scene. Like the guy walks into a school. She's just like, I didn't order this. And he goes, are you Miss Quan? Is the phone number here this? Then 100% that's true. Like, okay. Funny stuff. The simple stuff they do to get past. But good juvenile pranks, I guess, from Jimmy Spinner, but land them both in what would be LVP, but Spinner or Jimmy definitely more so.
Mm-hmm. Now we have our next episode. This is episode 12. It is called Wannabe. It aired on February 7, 2002. We see a boy running to Liberty, and then we see Hazel and Paige as they are all getting ready to do an interview. Paige and Hazel want to start a cheerleading club called Spirit Squads, and you're going to hear this a lot throughout the years. Yeah. This is the first time that we've heard it. Is called the Spirit Squad, not the wrestling male cheerleaders called the Spirit Squad. This is the Degrassi Spirit Squad. You know, the Canadian cheerleading teams called the Spirit Squad. And Manny asked Paige to try out, and Manny does a cartwheel, and Paige is very impressed. And it tells Manny to sign right here. So we're off and running with the Spirit Squad.
What a great job with that cartwheel. Really sold him right away. And we get a new character. I was just looking it up, trying to figure out if this guy ever, I don't know if he shows up again, but he runs in to help with the cheerleading team. This is Oscar for his one appearance, maybe, that we'll get in Degrassi. But yeah, the Spirit Squad is on the top of everybody's tongues. As Paige and Hazel are excited to get this started. They want to be the lead cheerleaders at the school, and I guess just build something out.
Yeah, and John, I think this is the first time they recognize that this is going to be Hazel by name. As the last time we saw her, she was just like Paige's friend, but no one mentioned her by name in the episode Rumors and Reputations. She does get a line, but here is the first time that she's mentioned by name as Hazel.
Okay. Yeah, there was she was helping to spread the rumors about Liberty, but here we are with her getting full on, Paige sidekick kind of introduction here, as the two of them will be really linked together throughout the series moving forward.
Paige makes an announcement on the school announcements. I'm surprised Ashley's not standing right next to her as class president. Emma thinks cheerleading is sexist. Manny tells Emma she is going to try out, and of course Emma objects. So Emma again is on another one of her Emma Nelson crusades.
Starting already, that Emma can find something that gets announced, and if it's on the announcements or in the paper or something she sees, that she will be able to pick apart and try to find some mission that she can go against for it. This episode is gonna do a lot for the really exploring kind of the Emma Manny relationship. What we've seen from them so far is kind of just a dynamic of just friends. We've never seen more so of the differences of them, or really understood much about Manny's even real interests other than being Emma's friend. But we could see already that she was enamored with the idea of becoming a cheerleader and doing a cartwheel. She has a great energy and spunk about her in that. It seems like she's getting attention from other people, and that's great for her. We're getting to learn more about Manny here.
Talk about a throwback scene in our next scene. JT and Toby are eating Pringles, going through can for a contest. These would always bring me back, not this one particular, but you would always look for like the one box of cereal that had the contest, like, oh, your box is a winner, send in your information on here. Right. Win a trip to Disney World, or you got the one lucky bottle of Mountain Dew that had you win the Xbox.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the bottle cap winners, or a Monopoly game at McDonald's. Any of those, right? Where we're looking for some sort of prize. And yeah, I guess Pringles in Canada was doing this. Although when they explain the contest, it seems like this kind of really like fakakta thing. They only need to match 2 card suits and not 4. Like it seems like it's a halfway contest. But yeah, JT and Toby definitely up to something as they're hiding in the stairwell eating Pringles, and then looking at the bottom of the can to see if they have whatever symbol they need. Mr. Radich a little suspicious, wondering what's going on with these two guys just housing chips in the stairwell, but I think he kind of
hit their blood pressure. Their sodium levels will be off the roof.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's grade 7 mindset for you. That the only way to get to the bottom of the can is to eat it all. They haven't figured out of just like dumping the chips out and looking for the sign instead, right?
But their metabolism must be burning very fast. I mean, for school. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so the contest is, and like then Spinner's like, Spinner's looking on as well. And then the contest is you have to find the ace of clubs and the ace of spades. They asked Liberty for her Pringle can, and they found the ace of clubs. So like this will get on. This will drag out even more, as JT already says that he has the ace of spades. They found the ace of clubs. However, it's Liberty's can. Manny does her cartwheel in front of Paige and Hazel, and Paige tells Hazel to watch out. Emma and Manny are talking in the girls' room, and Manny suspects Emma is going to write an article in the Grapevine.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Always looming, just like the Beverly Blaze in 90210. Saved by the Bell didn't really have a newspaper, but more so had the radio station for a little while. We've got all of these, the press in these high school or middle school shows, always looming as a threat to the way of life for our characters. And here, Emma with the mighty pen turning to the Grapevine, maybe to take up another cause and show off these sexist bimbos. I call them out in her article.
Andrea would be very proud of Emma.
Andrea Gil Myers would be there to help edit with it and whatnot. Absolutely.
Well, because Mr. Simpson definitely ain't helping Emma with this one.
Well, no, yeah, we'll get into it as this moves forward. We'll talk about the actual publishing process of the Grapevine as we see.
So Liberty, JT, and Toby are negotiating a 50-50 deal for the other can. This is the Ace of Clubs can that Liberty is holding on to. When Spinner walks in asking for 10% for protection, and he basically just says, you're going to split the money with me or I'm going to beat you up. And Toby obliges, and then they decide who will hold on to the cans. Manny tells Paige and Hazel Emma might write an article on sexism, and they ask Manny to hang out.
Yeah. You need some girl time, should they say. You need some time with the girls. And they do the full, each grab her by an arm and walk off with her. We've got Manny is living the life now. She is being accepted into the cheerleading squad, or the spirit squad as it would be at Degrassi, and has these grade 8 girls who she looks up to and are accepting her in. This is a new chance for her.
Yep. And what do you think of Spinner just being like, typical behavior by Spinner? Give me your money or else I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah, Spinner, has one way of thinking, right? And one way, no real nuance to him. He overhears that they've got the plan, that they're going to get this money, and he's going to weasel his way in, and the only other answer is violence for him. So, but hey, he's convincing enough to 7th graders that he's able to, maybe get himself $100,000 if the plan comes through. So good for him.
Yeah, it's actually, it's like $1 million, so they have to
split. Yeah, but he wants 10%, so that's right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They're in Manny's bedroom when Emma calls. Emma asks Manny where she is. They were supposed to study. Manny says she is sick, but Emma overhears Paige and tells Manny not to come over. So again, someone overhearing a conversation, and Paige is over there, and Emma's like, "What the heck, Manny? Like, why are you being friends with them?"
Ooh, tough times. Yeah, Manny's just here trying to talk about boys with her new friends, and they're like, hey, let's just get to the bottom of the newspaper article, make sure she doesn't write it, even though she's doing her best to hold mute on the phone to kind of cover it up, make sure she doesn't get overheard. Paige, Hazel already talking in the background, getting caught, getting found out, and this is only going to fuel Emma a little further as she feels deceived, lied to. Don't even bother coming over, she tells Manny, and the stage is set for our back end here.
Yep. JT is in his room looking for the can. He apparently lost the can, so he has the ace of the ace of spades, so that's the one that he loses. Gosh, it's so hard to keep track of which one's which, especially with what is going to happen at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, JT is fumbling around the room looking for it, and this is the energy we get from JT all the time. Is just kind of this disheveled, like kind of aloof guy. Funny, obviously, but not exactly who you want to trust with, one half of $1 million prize, maybe, or your ticket to a $1 million prize. So at the same time, we know, the kids definitely think they are on their way there, and we'll see how they start acting with their assumed winnings.
Mm-hmm. The girls are in the gym, and Manny shows Paige some moves. Emma looks on and then goes to Liberty to publish an article. Again, Emma is like, Liberty just posts, it's like, wait, you can't just write this in, just do it. And Liberty's like, okay.
This is what I was getting to. Yeah, we get the behind the scenes of what's going on at the Grapevine, how it's published. As Liberty just, I guess, has her own office to work in for the Grapevine, and Paige and Emma comes in demanding, I've got this editorial, we want to put it in. It's pretty juicy, as we can see. It's calling people bimbos, as she mentions. It's calling it sexist, and Emma even offers, says, I can be harsher than I am in there, and Liberty says, no, this is good enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get this character moment with Liberty. I don't know if you were picking up on this. It was on the rewatch I did. I think they were a little too subtle with it, but she's very proud of her new boots that she has, these red boots. And this goes towards that idea of the kids really, believing in that $1 million, already kind of spending money or getting things that they would want because of that. And that was this weird kind of like, Liberty's off in her own headspace, with the prize money that they're going to get too.
Yep, Paige and Emma argue in the hall. Emma gives Manny the article, and Manny is mad at her because Emma calls them dumb bimbos, and she calls her
plastic, right? She's like, oh, Miss with a cause, and she's like, oh yeah, little Miss Plastic. She hits Paige really harsh there. When they break it down in the bathroom, we have Emma and Manny the confrontation, and Manny is just upset. Like, why is Emma doing this? She's trying to make friends with other people, and Emma doesn't see why she needs to. She thinks she's changed. It's really the two of them kind of coming to grips with that. One, it's okay to have friends outside, and also you can't, like, people are not exactly who you count on them to be all the time. I think Emma's a little out of line here, I would say. Like, she seems to always be kind of putting negative energy out towards Manny when Manny enjoys something, right? I don't think she's 100% supported here. I can understand feeling bad that Manny was hanging out with Paige and Hazel, and she thinks, oh, she's moved on from me, but her response is not up to the level that I think it should be.
Mm-mm. So then Manny is mad at her. Manny wants Emma to get rid of the article. Manny says Emma is jealous of Paige and Hazel, but then Emma says that they're just using Manny. And then Toby gives away a Sega Game Gear when he says he lost the can. Dude, it's 2001. You're telling me you didn't have a Game Boy Color? It's 2002, man.
He's got it's Canada, though. Come on. We have to remember. Sega products were pretty big still in South America at the time, if I recall. But maybe Canada had some lingering as well. Or it would be, I guess it would be in the Game Boy Advanced at that point. But yeah, here's Toby, similar to what we saw with Liberty in the boots, as he says, oh no, I can give it away. I'm going to be upgrading my system, with his part of the money. So he's planning on He's planning on having maybe he's planning on getting that Game Boy Advance that you were just talking about.
Yeah, or the Xbox. He might have had enough to get an Xbox. Canadian, remember, always was a little bit more expensive than the United States.
Yep, absolutely.
So JT says he lost the can, and Liberty confronts them. Paige and Hazel grab copies of the Grapevine, and they start to rip up Emma's article. Manny rips up the article as well.
Yep. Yeah, they put that like last bit of pressure on her as Hazel is ripping out the article one page at a time, and we get Paige looking at Manny. She's like, "You do one, Manny." Whoa, right? Like get her, culpable as well. In this vandalism, as it would be, and in silencing the press, the power of Emma's article. So, this is Manny not wanting to necessarily go along, but also not wanting to burn any bridges between this potential new friendship. We can see she's kind of torn, but she's going to help out in the cause here.
Yep. So she rips up the paper. Toby is panicking, and Spinner threatens to beat up JT. They look through his locker and find the can. But the problem is JT also has an ace of club, and Spinner's like, "You have the wrong can." And JT's like, "Spade club? Oh, man, I get confused." And their dream of getting $1 million is long gone as they look on in disgust. And then Toby and Liberty, at insult to injury, they push him into the locker and shut the door.
Absolutely, yeah. A full locker stuff, a classic, high school or junior high trope that we can think of for TV of getting stuffed in the locker. Well deserved for JT here after putting them all through this ordeal. Coming back to, the same piece, the same game piece, and not knowing. I can't tell you how many times I probably in those McDonald's Monopolies would be like, I think I need Baltic. And then I'd get one and be like, wait, was it Baltic I needed or was it the other purple one?
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely had enough of those not scares, but thinking that I won something only to be like, nope, you have the same piece just again, right?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, this, I would say, going back and watching this episode, I completely forgot about this B storyline of the cups and the contest. I remember, Manny and the cheerleader. This was, watching it back, I was like, I completely blanked on this. But it's interesting to get some interaction between, Spinner and other characters, and Spinner and people who are younger than him. So I think that what we've seen in these two episodes really is kind of more of a crossover between all the characters that we have as the kind of cast and community are branching out.
Yeah, plus I think it's just it's funny that they do this because these type of contests really were what was back in the day, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Spinner's like, "Oh, I don't know why. I hang out with 7th graders, and well, because there's no Jimmy, Ashley, and Terry in this episode."
Yeah, they were left off the cast list today. So,
yep.
And haven't we all said, I don't know why I hang out with 7th graders at some point in our lives.
Mm-hmm. So Paige is working on flyers in a very interesting Microsoft images program here with measurements and everything. When Mr. Simpson walks in and asks them if they know anything about Emma's article getting ripped up, Paige denies it, but then Paige actually says Hazel was behind it and sells Hazel down the river. Manny asks why she did it, and she said someone had to take the fall. Manny then threatens to go to Mr. Simpson, and Emma overhears everything. So we see a dark side in Paige that she'll throw anybody down the river as long as she doesn't get caught.
Yeah, it was going to keep her out of trouble, and I think she's doing it in front of Manny, even to extend kind of some goodwill towards her, win her over, almost manipulate her to her side. as she says, she's like, "Oh, you were about to fess up. I wasn't going to let you do that." So Hazel's fine. She can, do that. And it didn't seem like Mr. Simpson was going to go out and punish anybody since there's no proof of anything. And so just warns them instead against like, hey, this kind of behavior, if we have anything like it, would shut down extracurriculars. But it does lead Manny to see this crack in the facade of who she really admired in Paige. She was excited to be a part of the Spirit Squad, to have the attention from the grade 8 girls, the popular grade 8 girls, and now maybe there's this darker side, this meaner side, and not so interested here. So Manny definitely coming to reality here.
Manny and Emma then reconcile outside of I believe I think it's Emma's house, and Emma says she was wrong. Emma says that Paige won't cut Manny because Paige knows how good Manny is, and that's where we leave this episode here.
Yeah, there's a great reconciliation here of them, kind of coming together, obviously knowing that, they will have other friends, and that's the case, but we'll also have each other's backs. And as Emma says, she had heard what Manny said, and she really appreciates it. So won't let these kind of jealousies or whatnot hopefully get in the way of them in future, as we move down the road here. So a bit more uplifting than our ending on the last one, but once again, just great kind of pushing through the year. And these are small stories. They're not, earth-changing things every week. And I think that's what I love about the show, is that it's really just kind of giving us a chance to feel more of a connection and just like be a part of these characters' lives as they're going through it.
Yep. I really didn't have an MVP for this episode. I mean, I guess it could be Manny, because she really wants to try out, and she's not going to let anyone stop her from trying out and getting onto this team. She was really determined to be on this cheer squad, spirit squad here. So I'm going to give it to Manny.
Jeez, I think Manny's a good one. I think who really kind of drove the action though is Paige, and I think for value, to bringing value to the episode, the person who's moving across. Yeah, it is Manny's story, but it is Paige who is starting the Spirit Squad, who is inviting Manny to be a part, kind of that temptation of Manny as we get here, and then also revealing this big kind of character flaw at the end. So if we're thinking about who kind of drove that action and who were things kind of pivoted around, I think Paige really carried her weight here, and did a lot of showed her influence on Manny, on Paige, and on just even Emma, because she had big confrontations, big scenes with all of them. Good job, Paige.
Yeah. I guess it's not always whose story it is. It's who had the most impact on who did what in the episode. And yeah, you're right. Paige did have a lot, because she tries to get this Spirit Squad going. She's promoting it very well. She's the one who's behind ripping up the articles. It's I don't care and everything. Yeah. She has the argument with Emma, calling her a tree hugger and all that.
Love it. Yeah.
LVP, John, I have a tie, because if you look at it from the storyline thing of it, it's Emma, because of her just being cheerleading's so wrong and this and that, and she doesn't even know why she thinks it's wrong and everything. But if we want to look towards the funny side, the LVP is JT, because he can't figure out what's an ace and what's a spade and what's a club. So I think it's JT, because he's the one who got mixed up and got thrown into his locker.
Yeah, I think JT, kind of driving the hope of the gang that they're going to have $1 million, and then obviously coming up short and not having it. JT, kind of didn't add much to everything here, and got his come up and says he should be hopefully in that locker for a while, and we don't need him messing up anything for us anymore.
Yeah, and Toby has no Game Gear.
Yeah, right. There goes the Game Gear. Was it Bejeweled was the game for Game Gear? What they're like Tetris? Oh no, Blocks or whatever. Sega had their own kind of like Tetris that played on the Game Gear, right?
I was gonna say either that or he had Sonic the Hedgehog in there still.
I don't know. I was a bigger fan of I was more impressed, I remember, with the Nomad, which could actually play Genesis games portable instead of the Game Gear games.
Yeah, I'm surprised that girl was like, I want your Game Gear. It's so weird. She was like, hey, little bro, got you a Game Gear. It's like, all right.
I think these are marked down to $20 in KB at that time, like the Game Gear.
Well, John, that's going to do it from us covering our Degrassi episodes. But do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to? I know that you were on 90210 so recently as well.
Yeah, we recently had a big episode, obviously, over there in the middle of sweeps, and the Brenda, Dylan, Kelly love triangle is finally really starting to come to a head, and we're seeing some real turmoil there. I think season 3 is one of the better seasons of the show, and it's heating up. You get a lot of great guests and great discussions over there, even on the message boards on Place to Be with our Facebook page and even the 90210 pages. Check those out. There's usually a great discussion going on around all things Place to Be and everything here. So check me out on the Facebook feed and on the 90210 podcast. Hopefully, maybe even a couple Mount Rushmores or anything coming up that Andy might have going. Keep tuned to that, and always happy to chime in.
Yep. As for me, you can mostly find me on the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed. I have 2 podcasts over there. One is called Extreme Resurrection, where me and Steve Riddle deep dive into ECW on Sci-Fi from 2006 to 2010. We are wrapping up the year 2007, and it's been an interesting second half. CM Punk wins the ECW title in September of 2007. And ECW and SmackDown are forming on both shows, as they call it the brand talent exchange, where some of the SmackDown superstars go to ECW and the ECW superstars go to SmackDown. Also, I have a podcast called Nation Invasion, where I bring a guest on and we cover the Invasion era in 2001. I just got done dropped the episode right after Unforgiven with Luke Jennings, as we cover the Raw from September 24th, 2001 and SmackDown September 27th, 2001. We talk about where is Stone Cold after losing to Kurt Angle at Unforgiven, the rise of Rob Van Dam, and the release of WCW Tag Team Chronic. So you can listen to all that as well. Well, that's going to do it from us here tonight. If you have whatever it takes, listen right here for all of your Degrassi needs. I want to thank John Kesalika as always, and we will see you next time.